Welcome to the Talent Revolution, Tales from the Trenches. I'm Jill Caniglio-Kirk.
And I'm Joe Shambaum. Welcome, everyone. Jill, I think we're going to write some algorithms today, or maybe dissect some algorithms. What do you think?
That's a lot to bite off on a Friday afternoon, Joe. But
we can do it.
I'm
Absolutely.
Game.
And we're going to be able to do it with our exciting guest, Leah Bliss. Welcome to the show.
Amazing. Thank you. Yes, it is going to be a lot for a Friday afternoon, but I promise we'll make it fun.
Absolutely. It's always fun with us, so don't worry. The listeners know that by now. But we're excited to welcome Leah. Leah is a driving force uncovering the LinkedIn magic. She helps talent acquisition, HR, candidates, executives, sales teams, entrepreneurs, whoever else to turn their LinkedIn presence into measurable results through strategic engagement and thought leadership. So if you're listening now, you may want to go grab some pens because there's some tips and tricks that are coming and also maybe timestamps to come back. So, but welcome, Leah. Leah, why don't you introduce yourself for everyone else?
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I think you said it. LinkedIn is such a unique and interesting platform. And for so many people, and especially your listeners, it primarily exists as a job search function. What I've been able to do is help people expand that vision of LinkedIn. I travel around the country, speak to executive teams, marketing teams, sales teams, and showcase that LinkedIn is so much more than, we'll say, just for job searchers. But the way that we think about LinkedIn has to fundamentally change because it's not Facebook for work. It's not fancy Indeed. It is such a unique platform. And so I have been training people on LinkedIn since COVID, started in COVID. And I mean, there's still plenty of people that need to get on the LinkedIn bandwagon. So here I go.
Well, the other thing is, I guess it's a good thing for your business that LinkedIn is ever changing, right? So what worked last week, last month, last year isn't necessarily going to work in the future. So I think from that perspective, there's certainly a need out there. But we're really excited to have you here with us, Leah, because I know you have a lot of wisdom around LinkedIn, and our audience is really going to benefit from some actionable advice. So I want to start with a loaded question, if that's okay with you.
Ooh, yes.
And my loaded question is, what is the biggest misconception of LinkedIn?
Ooh, the biggest I would say there's two. I would say some people think that LinkedIn is turning into Facebook for work, that it's people go and they're sharing dumb posts and it's getting out of hand and they don't see the value. So it's too much Facebook for work. I don't see the point. The other misconception is that you don't have to think about it if you're not looking for a job. That I would say is the most dangerous misconception about LinkedIn as well.
Because isn't LinkedIn a professional networking site? Isn't that not what it was originally created for?
Joe, you bring up a fantastic point here. So when we think about LinkedIn, it sits in this weird space because it's not really social media. And especially if we look at the revenue. So like Instagram, for example, Instagram makes money from advertisers. We don't pay to be on Instagram. We don't pay to be on Facebook. But LinkedIn makes 80% of their revenue from the subscription model. So we do pay to be on LinkedIn. And because of that, it's more networking, and it needs to operate in such a way that individuals and organizations are still willing to pay to access it. So yes, it is not social media. It's not just networking. It's some weird hybrid of both.
Okay. So then what's the purpose of it?
What the purpose is LinkedIn's ultimate goal is to recreate in-person networking events on a digital platform. If you think about LinkedIn as a never-ending networking event where you can access everybody, there are things that we need to do on LinkedIn that we don't do on social media, but we naturally very well do when we're in-person networking to build relationships. LinkedIn's ultimate goal is to make sure that the right business relationships are being built.
So is that the definition from LinkedIn or your definition?
I think their mission statements is something to the degree of to connect the world's professionals, something about conversation, but I always say follow the money, right? They can say like whatever their mission statement is, but follow the money.
Yeah.
They make money when those of us who are on LinkedIn are able to be successful in building relationships that end in revenue.
Right. And I would just say, for myself, there's definitely people I have met and engaged, whether I engaged with a post through theirs, right? There's definitely people I would have never met, specifically, in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, just through kind of common passion for different things, writing articles or reading things in different spaces. But I guess there's also a heavy interest in people using this as a tool to kind of find their clients, right? Find the revenue, find how to grow their business, right? So I guess people approach it for different reasons, depending on where, what they're looking for.
Yes, everyone's why for showing up on LinkedIn is different, but I'm going to say this and it's going to make people mad, but we're all in sales. When you're looking for a job, you sell yourself. When you are trying to push a new initiative at work, you are selling that idea. LinkedIn is where we can come and build the connections to sell whatever it is that we're selling, whether that's us as job seekers or us as entrepreneurs.
So spin that for the HR folks, because obviously talent acquisition, we get it and we've known it, right? We're looking for candidates or clients or different things that way, right? And like Jill said, I've met folks across the globe that I never would have using the tool. But what about the HR folks? What benefit? How do they get to use it and understand it for their side?
So
and that's Leah, not Jill. Sorry.
Jill,
I get it, Leah, but maybe other people out there don't. So
it's everybody that you would want to hire is on LinkedIn for most industries. That's a broad stroke statement. But in most industries, the people that you want to hire, top talent, are going to have a LinkedIn profile. There is so much that we can learn from looking at someone's LinkedIn, because I can put together a fabulous resume, email it in. But then if I were to go look at someone's LinkedIn profile and see that they were posting things that maybe didn't quite align with the company culture, or they were commenting on posts that maybe were not in alignment with the ultimate goal of the business, it allows you to get into the human side. I always say when we look at a LinkedIn profile, the about section in particular is the culture fit section. You can read someone's resume and you can do an interview to get the vibe check, but you can't really lie about the activity that you're participating in on LinkedIn. You can't lie about what you are doing and not doing anything, right? Not having a LinkedIn is just as telling.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I would just say, I notice in some cases, people that are HR professionals, and I think not everybody is thoughtful. I think it comes to this Facebook idea of, what am I projecting when I make a comment like this about a topic like this? And then how does that get perceived based on maybe what my role might be, and all these other things. So I think sometimes a lot of people don't look beyond the surface of, how do you connect all those dots? And I know I'm certainly a person that would go and look at, what is that person commenting on? How active are they? What are they? It's telling about what makes you tick, even outside of your profile, right? So the things you're reading, the things you're commenting on, all those things to me are very telling. So I would just agree that it's a great tool and an indicator for even doing an alignment check into, is the person really representing what they're saying about themselves and the way they carry themselves, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's like I said, it's one thing we can all, maybe they lied on their resume. Maybe they elaborated to a degree that's beyond the norm. And we go and it's like, so LinkedIn's algorithm actually helps professionals with this. So when you make a post on LinkedIn, LinkedIn actually reads your profile to determine if you're even qualified to talk about this topic. And right, and will let your post be seen more in the feeds or less in the feeds by that determination. And so LinkedIn is helping you see the very types of people. When I talk to job seekers, I always tell them HR professionals are looking to hire someone that they can see actively doing the job they want to hire them for. Creating posts, going out and commenting, and being active around conversations that are relevant to the industry that they're in or that they're trying to be in is way more attractive than somebody who, can say, I got 20 years experience. Well, okay, but what are you doing with that 20 years of experience? So
are you sharing advice? Are you giving advice? Are you commenting on things? So that's part of the algorithm is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the whole part where, I have a friend who got hired because of the strength of her personal brand. Her organization saw like she's super active on LinkedIn. She's very involved in the sales enablement space. She's speaking, she's doing things, even outside of her current role. She's doing a lot, and that makes you more attractive. And I think more organizations need to, if they're not already, take into consideration what weight of personal influence and personal brand is any particular candidate going to be bringing to this role.
I'm sure that's dependent on the type of job, but that's not all gathered by LinkedIn. So obviously that company then went on the web, let's call it, and gathered insights for what's that person's doing. Is that kind of what happened too?
No, it was all on LinkedIn.
It was. Okay.
Her entire brand was on LinkedIn.
Like my perspective on that as an HR hiring professional would be, this person is serious about their profession. Mm-hmm. They are intentionally building a personal brand, and they are it's kind of viewed as a person that it has a strategy, has a plan, knows how to use this platform, knows how to create this perception of, not necessarily perception can be reality, right?
Right.
Of it tells me what they're about, and I can see that certainly being something that would bode well for you standing out in a recruitment evaluation. If I'm laying you next to another candidate saying, hey, this person brings this other dimension that could help our business, bring visibility to our business, mm-hmm. bring, kind of this perspective and it kind of gives you this additional layer of what you can offer the company, right? I could understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for looking at candidates, assessing LinkedIn profiles, right? Someone who hasn't posted in 2 years and the last thing they posted was the last time they got hired. It's like, okay. For me, it raises the question, like, if you're going to be operating a 21st century role, AI is in every industry nearly at this point. Technology is prevalent everywhere that you go. Are you demonstrating an ability to master 21st century tools, or are you complacent and kind of, we'll call it stuck in the old ways? Are you forward thinking? Are you adaptive? Are you adopting new technologies? I think it says so much without actually saying it.
Right. And I would just say, I think there are a lot of very seasoned HR people out there that are really comfortable where they're at and feel like, mm-hmm. I don't need this, right? I'm good. This isn't not necessarily something I need to worry about building out my profile, worrying about my about section, because I've got a job and I'm happy where I'm at. And I understand all that because I maybe used to be that person. Mm-hmm. But I could also relate to, the point you're making of, especially when you're representing a company and this platform is designed for professional networking, right? And the whole purpose of it. So it certainly resonates with me, and I think it could resonate with some of our audience as to, why is it important to, really maybe focus on how do you optimize and how do you represent yourself on LinkedIn?
Yeah, because right on the flip side, in today's market, candidates are interviewing companies as aggressively as the candidates are being interviewed. And it's telling on both sides, right? If the organization is tech forward, and if you as a hiring professional are somebody who's active on LinkedIn, it's as big as, are you representing your organization as somewhere that attracts top talent? And as little as, how are you optimizing your posts so that there is a higher likelihood that more people and more qualified candidates will see that you're posting for jobs on LinkedIn?
Right.
So are companies engaged in doing that? Because I think we haven't really touched that part yet. Like the company actually doing something and sharing information and having that brand and presence on there. Are through your conversations with them, are they changing that tune a little bit more? I've seen more, but not probably in the last little while, like real big company posts that are constant, right? They'll do it. Oh, it's the quarterly annual meeting and boom. And we had a picnic, but that's part of it. But I think there needs to be more engagement.
So you bring up an interesting point, because there are two elements of LinkedIn. There's the company page and there's the individual page. The company page is pretty useless as a very broad statement. I'm gonna piss off a lot of marketing people when I say that. But the LinkedIn company page, when you make a post from a corporate page, it will only ever reach organically 2% of the followers of that company page. You have to already be following them, and it's only 2%. Like, it's a devastating number.
Wow.
Now, as a company, you can pay to play, right? 20% of LinkedIn's revenue still comes from ads. But the power of LinkedIn is in the people and the individual. So when I talk to organizations that are trying to, especially when they're looking to do mass hiring, hey, we've got 30 different roles we're trying to fill at any given time. We can't just be constantly posting job openings on our company page. It comes down to the individuals. So two things here. The company page, the best way that they can start to showcase that it's a technology forward company, that it's a great place to work, highlight some of the company culture, is to repost employees' posts. Right? One of the executives posts about the conference. The company page is reposting their thoughts. A sales leader is posting about his team winning an award that quarter. The company page reposts that. This allows anybody who's looking at that organization to come in and see not just the cool things that are happening, but that it's the people that are driving it. And that's how you attract really, really great talent.
So does that algorithm, is that part of their algorithm then?
Mm-hmm. So when you as an individual make a post on LinkedIn, it goes to roughly 10% of your personal network versus the 2% followers of the company page. Now, we could dive into like, how do you make a post go viral? Well, it's pretty easy. You have to write a post, 150 words, a picture of people, right? AI images aren't great. Video isn't great on LinkedIn. A real life photo of a real life person or people, 150 words. Then you need, right? No hashtags. Hashtags, don't use them on LinkedIn. It actually hurts your reach. LinkedIn's AI algorithm reads your post to determine what the topic is. You don't have to tell it anymore.
Okay.
Don't use hashtags. Don't use any kind of link, right? Even if you're linking to a job, don't add it in the post. Post it, make it go live, and then get 10 people to comment on that post in the first 90 minutes. You as the author should be responding to those comments in the first 90 minutes. In the before times, before the AI algorithm came in, I could absolutely hands down guarantee that would get you 1,000 views, regardless of how many followers you had. The AI algorithm adds immense layers of complexity to that, but that's a great place to start.
Great advice. And I know at least 2 things I'm doing wrong. So
Note to self, yes.
Right.
I've got
look
my
at
pencil going. So
I look at hundreds of profiles a day. I've seen it all. So you're probably doing far better than you're giving yourself credit for.
I have heard one of the tips you said about the links. I've heard that from somewhere, and I not that I didn't believe it. It was, I guess, a misconception and just odd that a link wouldn't help you because you're helping drive it, which would then drive other activity. But if it's not working in the algorithm, then it's useless, right? So
yeah, essentially, you are beckoning LinkedIn's paying customers off of the platform, nary to return. They don't want you taking their people.
right.
Mhm.
Most of us go to LinkedIn with a purpose. We're not there to doom scroll. We're there with a mission. And if you have a link in your post, you're interrupting the mission.
Got it. One follow-up to that would be, is a good tactic to then reply even yourself with a here's a link, right? Or in the comments.
We see this a lot, right? Link in comments. I don't love it for several reasons. One, if someone reposts your post, the comments don't necessarily follow.
Right.
So now it's lost. If you get 20 comments, now it's buried somewhere and it's a terrible user experience.
Okay.
The simplest workaround is, there's two workarounds. One is that you make the post go live and then immediately edit the post to add the link afterwards. It's like object permanence with the link, and LinkedIn can't see it. Or if you post 3 or more links in one single post, LinkedIn now changes its mind about what this post is and says, oh, this is a resource center. Oh, this is fine. So if you're going to post that you've got, 6 job openings, put all the links to all the different ones in there.
Okay.
You'll be golden.
Who knew?
Who knew? No,
Who knew? Somebody out there probably knew, but I certainly didn't know. And I'm not embarrassed to say that. So
no, right? I spend all day long reading pages and pages of research so that other people don't have to.
Well, if we flip gears and say there's a person out there who really wants to polish up, there's an HR professional, there's a talent acquisition person, or a listener out there that really wants to spend a little time optimizing their LinkedIn profile, what is the best bang for their buck there, and what advice would you give them?
Ooh, you have to have, must have 4 things in order to even have LinkedIn qualify you as someone willing to play the game and ready to have their content seen. So you have to have a background image. Doesn't really matter what it is. I would avoid any kind of overly text heavy or call to action. Just a lovely image is fine. A profile picture. You have to have a profile picture. Make sure it looks like you. Don't catfish people on LinkedIn. You laugh the number of times that I have been jump scared on the internet. Make sure it looks like you. Your headline. So that's, it's right underneath your name. A lot of people will put a tagline there, and this is purely meant to help other people identify where you fit in their business ecosystem. So it must have your title, your company name. Anything else you want to put at the end, that's fine.
Okay.
But
you see a lot of folks with X, whatever company they were. So there's some top companies and they put X or former or whatever. Does that help in any way?
That is so audience dependent.
Okay.
Because I work with a woman, a client of mine. I write her newsletters and LinkedIn posts. She is like X Facebook, X Google, X whatever. Right? I don't know if those are the actual ones, but she is a executive coach. And so that does help. It gives weight to I was an executive coach at some of the largest corporations in the world. This lends to my credibility now. So, but if I was to be X, whatever mom and pop X, I worked at, a bar in high school. No, nobody cares about that. So audience dependent for sure.
Sorry to screw you up. So you're on the number 4.
You're good. So banner image, profile picture, headline. And then the single most important thing for the algorithm right now is your about section. A lot of people just don't have this. Complete missed opportunity. A lot of people have this as their resume cover letter. Also not the move. The about section needs to be essentially a one-on-one conversation with the person you are trying to influence. Whether that's someone to hire, someone to hire you, whoever your audience is. One person, one conversation about what they can expect from a business relationship with you moving forward.
So if it's a salesperson, it's selling or talking about their product and selling that, for example.
Close. So if it's a salesperson, if you're in sales and you need to write an about section, it's not about this is my product, this is my service, buy my things. It's about when you work with me as your sales rep, I value communication. And one thing you're never going to get from me is recommendations for products that don't fit your needs. Because at the end of the day, I know that the right recommendation matters a lot more than the number of widgets I sell. Right?
So
it's
somewhat
about
your value proposition of it. How do I bring value to you? And who am I? What differentiates me from other people?
Yeah. Almost like you would talk to someone in a networking event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about yourself. You wouldn't just list your proficiencies. That'd be weird. You would also talk about like your hobbies and your kids and your travel and that is all appropriate to have in the about section. The second part of that is that when you make a post go live, LinkedIn reads the post, determines the topic, and then reads your profile to determine if you have the qualifications to even be discussing this topic. So your about section doubles as the AI prompt for LinkedIn on what your expertise is on. So you do have to add. So all of this, like you can max out the character numbers on the about section, even though most people think that feels so uncomfortable.
Well, and the problem also with that about, you only see the first 3 lines. Mm-hmm. So people have to actually purposely click on it to really read about you. But obviously LinkedIn's reading the whole thing. So
yes, exactly. So those are the main parts of the profile you need to have in ship shape.
Awesome. Great advice. Yeah. Homework assignment.
Yes. Everyone frantically like, oh no.
I think the next question and the next part where people get a little uncomfortable is, well, what do you mean I'm supposed to post stuff on LinkedIn? Like what kind of stuff, right? I think lots of people are out there thinking, well, is it a picture? Is it a quote, right? What am I supposed to post? I know we talked a little bit about the company page, right? But maybe it's a job seeker and maybe they're not engaged in a current company right now and they're a little stuck, right? Rather than the open to work post, what are some ideas you would have for people in that situation and how could they drive visibility?
I love this question. What the heck do I even post about? Right? The answer is if someone was between positions looking for a job, what they should do is write a post once a week. 1 post a week is all you need. Like, do not overpost. Don't go ham. 1 a week. Keep it cool. As if you were giving advice to your former self, or I tell people to create an imaginary mentee. You've got an imaginary mentee that you need to train on how to do the job that you're looking for your next position as. What advice would you give them? What anecdotes do you have to share that highlight maybe a concept or a skill set? Share that to LinkedIn as your mentee, speaking to the person who would be in this role, right? Something like, if I'm looking for a job as a sales rep, I would say something to the extent of, every sales professional has heard the saying, always be closing. But let me bring up another idea. when I worked as a whatever, I was selling this. And as I shifted my mindset away from always be closing to always be building relationships, my sales changed. This is something that I think a lot of sales reps need to embrace more. And here's some ways that you can shift that mindset as well. Right?
Great example. Right.
You don't have to talk about, it's not, I love the example, like people post like, here is a thing, here is my cup. I would like to tell you that it exists. What we really need to tell people in our posts is, let me tell you why having a cup of water on your desk while you're working is important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a thing, right? There's a webinar. I went to a conference. There's a job posting. Okay, there's a job opening. It's not just that the job opening exists. What type of person are you looking for? Why is this so pivotal to the overall investment of the organization? What kind of things are you going to be doing? What type of person are you looking for? Even as boldly to go and say, to write a post saying, I'm so glad we finally found you. You are the exact right person that we wanted for this position. You are tenacious. You are hardworking. You bring to the table all of the skills, both technical and soft, that we were looking for, including da 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 da. We can't wait to have you start. This is going to be an exceptional time. If this sounds like you, please apply.
Right.
And now it's so much more dynamic. It's so fun. We can have big personalities on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and it sounds like just having a personality, differentiating yourself, having a point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not so vanilla. Don't be vanilla.
Yeah, that boilerplate content, get it out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So the recruiters need to then fix that too, because they're like, hey, here's a job, come apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw an adorable one this week, and it had like a picture of an alpaca in it, and it was really cute. And I saw it had a million, I'm not saying go find cute animals, but it was witty, right? It was well written. It drew some attention. I shared it with someone else, and I think it had a gazillion things. So dare to be different, I guess, is the advice.
Yes. And again, it's about, right, at the end of the day, like you can teach anybody a skill. You're really trying to attract someone who's got the tenacity and the talent and all of the things that you want in that role. The likelihood, right, a job posting that has 500 comments and 500,000 views is going to have a lot bigger and probably more qualified pool of candidates than, reposting that you've got 6 job openings and you get 2 likes and it's from your other recruitment team members.
Right. Yeah, I know another big one is really comments, right? Can we talk a little bit about the type of comments and how that could really open up some visibility for you?
So I'll tell you, we buried the lead on this one because commenting is single-handedly the most important thing you should be doing on LinkedIn. Commenting, so a company page post, 2%. A personal page post, 10%. A comment, 30%. You actually have more visibility with your comments than you do your posts. But most of us post with comments like, great post, thanks for sharing, I agree. Commenting for reach, right? Not helpful. If we realize that nearly 30% of our network is seeing our comment, and it's an opportunity to talk to them as well, we would change the way that we comment. Comments need to be inclusive in the way that if someone read your comment, they should be able to be caught up on the context of the conversation without having to go and read the entire post. So, right, TLDR, too long, didn't read, summarize it in your comment, but acknowledge the author. If I'm going to leave a comment, it's going to say, Jill, I love what you had to say about the influence of HR professionals and how they're taking on AI today. In the work that I do, AI is always changing and people are racing to figure out what the best process is. In your opinion, is there going to be any safeguards for HR professionals and AI usage in the future? A comment like that, you're like, well, gosh.
Well, now you're engaging me back in a conversation and two-way dialogue rather than, so not only have you expanded on it, but then you're kind of trying to kind of create this professional conversation where other people might join in or have a view.
Right. And that amplifies you exponentially. There is no limit to the number of comments that you should do on LinkedIn. If you had nothing else to do all day long and you just left comments on other people's posts on LinkedIn, there is absolutely no downside.
Will that get their profile then exposed?
Yes. The human nature says, right, if Jill and I didn't know each other and I left that comment on her post, what do you think the likelihood is that she would come and look at my profile? Crazy high.
Right.
It's actually 86% likelihood. But
who knew? No,
but who knew?
That's who knew.
The statistics. It's because when we pay attention, literally the currency of humanity, when we pay attention to someone else and make them feel seen and important, they can't help but turn around and be interested in who we are. That is hardwired into us as humans. So you comment on someone's post, increased likelihood they're going to come look at your profile. I have clients who saw 200, 800. The record that stands currently is 4,800% increase in profile views week over week.
Wow.
That's
mind-boggling. Yeah.
Just because they were commenting. And if you're a job seeker, right, if you're looking for a position, you best be out there commenting on HR professionals, but also figure out who in the organization would be your boss. Who's the CEO? Don't be shy.
Well, it's also other equivalents or thought leaders, right? And that's what I've told other folks of. If you're in engineering, go look at those engineering groups, make comments, share, talk in there, right? And pose questions, not just go ask, hey, can I have a job? Share insights and information and build a reputation behind it.
Yes, it comes back to the we're all selling something.
Right.
You would never just go to someone's LinkedIn profile and I mean some people do. I call it the pitch slap. When someone connects with you and then sends you a message immediately trying to get you to buy something. We all know that doesn't work. And so it doesn't work as a job seeker either. Additionally, man, how easy would HR professionals' lives be if they were just networking with top talent all the time? And it wasn't about, I need to find somebody mediocre to fill a role that I have, but someone incredibly valuable has become available. Let's go ahead and pick them up.
That would be flipping the script for many people, and I think in a good way, for sure.
Yeah.
What about, I'm going to ask another way. We see so many posts that you can just tell were whichever AI tool that you wanted to have, that you can see it, right? Because of whatever the emojis or comments and dashes and whatever else, right? Like, how do you get away from that? Because I mean, honestly, I see it and I'm like, that's really not authentic, right?
Yeah. So LinkedIn is working really hard to mitigate AI slop. One of the things is when you make your post go live, it reads your post to not just determine if it's, what the topic is, but it tries to tell, is this AI? Now, there's not like a secret, like, I don't know, like a smell left over by when you copy and paste from AI. Like there's no way to know exactly, but they are looking for proof of life. And one of the things that they look for is, could this post have been posted by anybody? If it's a post that is so generic and so watered down and so sterilized that every single person in your organization could post it, it's probably not going to do very well. So having anecdotes, your own stories, right? Like keeping it professional. We're in this kind of like ubiquitous in between space. It's not marketing copy, but it's not your diary. It's not Facebook. Something in between.
Right.
So I'm gonna let, in essence, a story this way, and I'd love your opinion on it. So
Okay.
I like to post things, and this is personal, so this is real, and everyone can go on there and look.
I'm going to go look right now.
You can. It was a little while ago, and it was because I like to share information about whether it's something that happened that day or something in history or something that way, right? So there's probably an AI piece to it, but it was also a little personal of, this was the Rubik's Cube question thing and when it was found. Is that, again, I'm not a physicist or an engineer, but it was something really neat. How is that? I mean, I think it's a branding kind of fun thing, and it got some engagement, but not a lot. But, is that what's your take on that? Just curious.
Is it the post that you did about Katherine Johnson?
No, the one before that. It was about Rubik's Cube.
Interesting. So, okay. So I just
Clearly
want to find it.
Too far, didn't do well, but that's all right.
I just want to find it so I can read it. But right, because I can give you good feedback if I can read it. So it's about the Rubik's Cube, right? You're not an engineer. It's something interesting. It's something right. It's like a cool thing that I want to talk about, like right, this day in history kind of energy. So when I think about posts and comments, right? We've got the 3 parts to LinkedIn: your profile, your posts, and your comments. You will never make or break a personal professional brand with one post.
True.
I caveat that. You could, please don't try. Please don't do something stupid. But if you're legitimately trying to talk about things that interest you, it's not going to derail the image you've created for yourself by talking about something slightly unrelated. Because you are probably not just an HR professional. You're probably also many things. A Rubik's Cube yourself of interests and personality. It would be a damn shame if you only posted about your job.
Right.
So
Fair. Well, one thing we like to do before we wrap up is just hear a tale from the trench. If you've got a story of just maybe one of your most profound realizations through working with a client or something else, is there something you'd like to share with our listeners?
Sure. I'll actually share the story about my stepmom in her job search efforts during COVID. So she got laid off during COVID and was heavily encouraged. My father also very, very active, prolific about and on LinkedIn. And he said, you just got to get on LinkedIn. So her and a colleague were both laid off, both in very similar roles in Silicon Valley, in tech. Her friend was sending off dozens, if not hundreds of resumes to organizations all over. My lovely stepmother was just posting on LinkedIn. Maybe sent off a couple of resumes, but leveraged her existing network as well, right? Not a, I just got laid off if anybody wants to hire me type of post, but those mentee type of posts. Here's what I'm seeing in the industries. Here's what advice I can offer. And then very casually reaching out to people she'd worked with in the past saying, hey, I'm looking. If you know anybody, let me know. She had 5 interviews while her friend maintained 0. Simply because we know it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
She leveraged the network. She was active online. And I think in today's world, simply sending out resumes is not a strategy. You have to build a network, and LinkedIn never ends. The network never goes to sleep. You can always be interacting.
Yeah. And I think that's a great story and a great example, because I think a lot of people that aren't working feel like they have to kind of have this very regimented process, and they almost kind of like have this curriculum of I need to do this many a day, and they set targets for themselves, and they view things like LinkedIn as more of a kind of, that's my escape, that's my release. It's more playtime versus work time. But I've seen this in many other cases with other people where I'm saying, it seems like you're accomplishing something because you did X many today, and you might be able to write it down, and you might be able to get the return receipts and all these things, but the impact and the ROI for that time is just not really going to come back to you, right?
Right. We just want to feel busy so we feel better about
Exactly.
not working.
Yeah.
And to that point, the best time to start building your personal brand is last year. The second best time is today. You don't want to wait until you are looking for a job to start trying to establish those connections. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And I know people that even have the connections, but they're like, oh, why do I don't just connect with all the people I know on LinkedIn, right? Like, so they work with 300 people that they've worked with for 20 years, and they're not their connections, and they're really not leveraging it in the right way. So
yes, that's a whole nother conversation. That's just
networking. We can't go there today, but that's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with that, Leah, I guess what would you, words of wisdom sharing with, and this is, everyone's not, they're employed, they're unemployed, they're overemployed, they're underemployed, they're looking for whatever help and ideas. I guess, is there a summary or sum up that you'd like to share with everyone?
Absolutely. So I already gave you what to do with your profile. But if you did want to be able to have a checklist and regiment it and say, I did the thing, 1 post a week, 3 comments a day. That's it. It's that little of effort to significantly move the needle on your personal brand.
And that seems very doable, because I would say that that's probably not more than a 5 to 10 minute exercise for any person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this before on other episodes where I'm saying I'm at the car wash waiting for my car to be clean. That's when I'm commenting on a post, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the grocery store line and the line is long. That's when I might be doing some of those things. So it's idle time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I might be in a 4-hour conference call where, yes, I'm multitasking, right?
We all are.
Right. So it's very doable. So
yes.
Very good advice.
The layer to add to that is track who you comment on. If you could do that, oh man, it would change your life. And I don't mean that silly. I keep track. Every single person that I have a meeting with goes on a list. I make sure I comment on one of their LinkedIn posts at least once a quarter.
Wow.
Because referral networks are real. And if I need someone to know who's the lovely of LinkedIn, who's the queen of LinkedIn, it's me. I need them to remember that. And so I'm going to show up 4 times a year minimum to make sure that they remember our interactions, so that if one day I did need a job, I could go and ask them.
Very good advice. And I would say, I do the same in the recruiter community, because I may not be looking for a job today, but it might be someday. And it's good to keep in touch and kind of keep the dialogue going. So very good advice.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we could go on for hours and millions.
And Joe's probably going to be calling you afterwards.
I got lots of ideas and things, and everybody else could too. I mean, Leah does have a business, and there's opportunities if people want to contact her and reach out to her. But Leah, really appreciate it. Thank you for your time and insights. I mean, just invaluable for ourselves, and I'm sure everyone else will appreciate it as well. So thank you again.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Leah.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Tune in to Talent Revolution, Tales from the Trenches. Until next time, we'll see you later.